hard to believe, but it's been 20 years since the release of Janet Jackson's seminal album, The Velvet Rope. To commemorate the album and Janet's phenomenal Velvet Rope tour, we're speaking to the people who were directly involved, including this man, dancer and choreographer Rob Vinson. Everybody fell in love with Rob during the tour, especially watching him be so playful on stage with Janet and with the rest of the other dancers. Rob, welcome back to the Kelly Alexander Show.
Hey, how you doing?
I am so great, and again, so happy that you made time for us. And I can't believe that it's already been 20 years since The Velvet Rope was released. Does it feel like a long time ago for you, or could it have been yesterday in your mind?
I still feel like yesterday in my mind. Still feel the same way.
Speaking of the album, I wanted to ask you how you feel about it or felt about it when you first heard it in its entirety. Like, did you how quickly did you get your hands on it at the time?
Well, we heard it all. We heard all the album, all the songs at rehearsal, so we already had a copy of all the songs. So we were just vibing to all the music. So
when you first
we were all happy to get it, though.
When you first heard it back in 1997, what was the song that jumped out to you the most? And is that still the same song for you today? Like, is it still your favorite song off the album?
Well, Together Again, because it was a dedication and coming together for the AIDS movement. So, yeah, that was the first one that we heard and made us very emotional when she was telling the story about it.
When you were learning the choreography for that, because obviously that's everybody knows the choreography to that song, especially obviously watching the video, and the video was so great and seemed to be groundbreaking at the time. Does that song still hold a special place sort of in your heart and the choreography as well?
Yes, it does. It does. It's just so powerful. That's a powerful song.
Now, I wanted to take a look back with regards to how you came on board for the Velvet Rope tour, because if memory serves, the last time you were on my show, you sort of mentioned that you didn't have to necessarily audition. Can you remind people of how you actually came on board for the tour?
I met Janet earlier before they started selecting dancers for the Velvet Rope tour. Let's see. So what happened was, real recap, maybe very short, is that Janet gave me a call and reminded me that I didn't have to come and audition, but to be part of the audition process when we do the final cut. So that she just invited me to come down and watch the final auditions, that she was going to be there, and let everyone know that I was already on tour.
Did you actually know all the other dancers before going on tour with them, Rob? Because I know you knew Mike in advance, but did you know any of the others?
Yeah, I knew Kelly, Nikki, and, of course, Mike, and also Tice, yeah.
And so when you saw who was sort of going to be selected, how did it feel? Did you know sort of going in it was going to be something very special going on tour with these guys?
For me, first major tour, and, I was excited was going to be. I was just excited what was about to happen, so.
Can you give us an idea about what rehearsals were actually like for the Velvet Rope, like how the days would actually roll out, like what time I guess you guys had to be there probably pretty early in the morning, and then we're working out at least all day.
Yeah, it was treated like a job. You had to wake up early, get there early, have a lunch break, and nonstop rehearsals, and make sure to affect all the routines. So yeah, it was nonstop. I was working like military.
Do you remember the first piece of choreography that you guys actually learned for the tour?
We had to learn "Got To Is Gone." That was the first song, because we had to do all the spot dates for that song, for the album.
Right, that's right, because you guys did a bunch of promotional dates, right, sort of all over the world before you guys headed on tour. So was that, like, what was that like, sort of being all together in the same room for that first, "Got Till It's Gone" rehearsal?
Yeah, it was pretty much working that song over and over again, nonstop. I think we did that song for 1 year before the tour actually started.
And when you guys actually headed out on tour, what was the feeling like? Was there lots of excitement for those first couple of dates? And did you have any sort of problems those first couple of days? Because I think I remember hearing that there was technical problems with the book actually opening. Was that true?
Oh yeah, they had to do several different ways of how the book should open. They tried to do do it sliding open, but Janet really wanted that screen to open up like a book. So that was very challenging. They had a lot of just technical difficulties with that one. So, yeah. So it took a while for them to figure out how that book was going to open and how to get Janet from the riser and down to the stage. So that took a while.
With regards to the choreography and the staging, Rob, did you help with any of it? Like, because I know obviously there's different people that sort of lended a hand, I think, throughout. What parts did you do?
Pretty much it was not really set of what we were going to do. It was just all over the place. So it was came in and out, like with you. We had to do on the war show. We had to do a remix for it Together Again. That's when me and Mike was invited to help Tina out with that choreography. Yeah, it was in and out. It wasn't a directly specific song they wanted us to choreograph. It was just here and there. Our characters, our personality had to be had to play a lot of role in the concert.
Yeah, can you talk to us a little bit about the Throb choreography? Because I think for anyone who sort of looks back and watches the HBO Velvet Rope special, that just sort of stands out because it seems like you guys, even though you were in sort of formation and had choreography together as a group, you obviously did get to freestyle. And I know a lot of people lost their minds over the freestyles that both you and Mike did. Did you guys obviously have full input on that stuff? And was it as much fun doing the Throb choreography as it was for us to watch you guys?
Yeah, they changed most people know they changed the Throb breakdown choreography compared to what it was the tour before. Yeah, we was shocked that, the people that already knew that was on the tour what the choreography was for Throb when they changed it up to a different style, because I guess they wanted to make it more up to date. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was real hardcore fun.
And it just seems like you had to expend so much energy on your part, especially because you had to sort of, I guess, hold the stage while everyone else ran off to get changed. Were you always okay when you came off? Because it looked like sometimes you were pretty tired.
Oh my gosh, they did suggest. They were suggesting. They said only Rob, for some reason, can actually freestyle that much and that much energy and had that much endurance and stamina. So we'll sing him at the end. And before the breakdown, if he's tired, if I was tired, I can actually exit the stage and come back on. Because they, for some reason, they put me on the far right side of the stage if you're facing the stage. Mm-hmm. And they said if you're tired, you can just go off stage, catch your breath, and come back on after the breakdown. But majority of the time I stayed on there doing the whole thing and the freestyle. They just couldn't believe, man, that man has to be tired.
Wow. And when you came off stage after sort of Throb was over, how much time did you have to sort of collect yourself? Because again, you were the last one coming off, and I don't think you had that long to sort of get yourself ready for the next go.
Just a brief moment. We had to go off and come back on with the whimsical. Yeah, so, we ain't had that much time. I had to get off, change clothes, come back on. But the good thing about the whimsical part of the tour was it was all in character, so I was actually able to catch my breath.
I wanted to ask you about the HBO special itself. When was the last time that you actually watched it? And when you sort of look back on that, what was your favorite part of recording that special? Because there was so much hype, obviously, surrounding the fact that Janet was going to record this huge HBO special, which obviously was watched by millions of people. Oh
my gosh. When we got the announcement that it was going to be live on HBO, well, first, I watched it a couple months ago, the tour on YouTube. It just attracts you when you hear the beginning of the song, and then all of a sudden now I have a flashback. And then when she made the announcement for HBO, I couldn't believe we were going to be live on HBO. And, during that time, HBO was the hottest thing to have any live concert on their scene. So I think Janet was one of the biggest highlights they ever had. So that was exciting.
Did you guys, I guess, obviously have extra energy for it? Because, it was amazing. Like, anybody that looks back and watches their DVD, just, it was such an amazing concert to watch filmed live. What was your favorite part of that? Especially, I know that she brought out, the surprise of having Q-Tip come out.
Yeah. Before they performed and recorded on HBO, they did remind us that we were going to be live, and that just like any movie that you go see on the movie screen, that it was a big deal. So everything had to make sense and everything had to be on point. It was a really big production and really big, kind of like a headache, because he was like, especially for me, hyping myself up live on HBO. So I was really, really lost in translation getting that going. And then especially when she brought up Q-Tip, my energy level just shot to the roof when Got This Go came on.
What was it like, actually, because, with regards to her, how was she that day? How was Janet that day? Because, we always know that she brings it all the time. She looks like she never really gets nervous, but was she a bit extra sort of anxious that day? What do you remember from her specifically when you guys were recording that?
I don't know. I was so really focusing on the show. And I just remember we all just got together and just made sure a pep talk was in was involved in the prayers and our prayer circle and encouragement. I think by this time we've done the show so many times. The only thing we was worrying about is where the camera was going to be and where we going to have the wire so we won't trip and fall, and that we had to be aware more of the cameras than actually the performance, because if I can remember, the camera that was in the front actually pushed the audience back from us. So we was actually felt like we were shooting in more of a video versus doing a concert. So I think we was all focusing on the video versus the concert. So I think that's what our eyes focus was on, mostly on that. But I'm sure most of us was nervous, and Janet was making sure that production, everything was perfect, because it was, for a big giant production. Plus HBO was backing up and had more bright lights, so it was actually hotter on stage. So I think we were just mainly pacing ourselves versus being super nervous, because we already did a concert several times already. So
joining us on the Kelly Alexander Show is dancer and choreographer Rob Vinson. Make sure to follow him on Instagram at DanceFunkRob. Rob, I wanted to ask you this. Earlier this year, your friend Michael Andrews passed away, who obviously danced on the Velvet Rope with you. I know you guys were tight. I wanted to ask what it was like dancing with Mike, especially, I guess, with regards to the tour specifically during the throb routine, because you guys, again, seem to have so much fun.
Yeah. That's good. Dancing with Mike was incredible, because like before we talked about bringing Mike on when he was 18 years old, and fresh into the industry. We had a lot of fun, especially dancing with Mike. Mike passing was very hard, because for a while I haven't talked to Mike, and Mike reached out to me, and I guess just to rekindle everyone back together. And it was a lot of fun dancing with Mike. As you can tell, it's a hard topic to talk about.
Yeah, of course.
Actually, I still talk about Mike with a couple of friends, and to relive that moment, to have fun with Mike, I actually did a dedication to Mike, and we did a live stage performance at a club in Hollywood. They normally have once a month for dancer choreography stuff. So I was actually able to find a dancer who was built like Mike, and I didn't realize it hit me really hard is when we did all of Mike's songs that Mike was involved with in his career, some of the good ones. And one point when we did Throb, we came out and did it, and then we actually, me and the guy, since I haven't done it in a while, but we actually did those kicks, the whole routine, me and Mike's routine in Throb, and then we did a kick, and lay down. And for a moment right there, I really believe I thought Mike was really dancing next to me, and his spirit was in there, and the guy really delivered, and he imitated Mike so well, and we just couldn't believe, he couldn't believe how great he did, because he'd never done that kick before, but he said it seemed like the spirit of Mike was in him, and he did exactly how Mike did it. We laid down on the floor, and I got up, and from flip moment there, live on HBO was in the first thing in my head, and, we got up and we high-fived, and man, it was that's where the most fun came out. My emotions came out. I started crying, because that was a lot of fun, and I brought great memory with Mike. So, Mike was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Oh, you're very welcome.
And I wanted to ask you again, I know you guys were tight, and I've had Mike on the show before, and obviously I would have loved to have had him on to talk about the 20th anniversary of the Velvet Rope, and we are dedicating these series of interviews to Mike, because I know when I spoke to him, he was so jazzed about, being a part of the Velvet Rope team in the past when we had spoken, and he loved all of you guys, all of his fellow dancers from the tour so much, and loved Janet so much. What do you think he would say about the fact that it's 20 years later, knowing that he just seemed really, that he just loved what he was a part of so much with you guys in the Janet group?
Oh, well, first of all, Mike would have been like, Mr. Vinson, we're going to have an incredible time. So Mike would probably be super excited and probably try to get every dancers together to do some type of Velvet Rope workshop together just to relive and keep that hype up and the excitement going. Yeah, that's pretty much what Mike was been doing because, like we talked about, me and a friend of mine, we always talk about Mike and how Mike was exciting and how calm he was and, his direct talking. So, Mike would have been very ecstatic and very excited for this moment.
If you look back on your time with Janet during the late 90s, how would you describe your feelings about her and being part of the Velvet Rope team, especially now it being sort of 20 years later?
I can't believe it's been 20 years. I'm still in shock that it's 20 years. And, the excitement is still there. So you mentioned Velvet Rope. It's just like, whoa. Like, first thing come to my head is when we did You. So the excitement of the explosion and the lights and, wow. I think I want to go see if she can do that tour again, remix with younger dancers. I ain't dancing, I'm too old. But I think it'll be great to actually see that concert one last time if it was still going.
I agree, and I think all the fans would agree with you for as well. And for so many fans, the Velvet Rope, like you said, it says something as soon as you hear those two words. And the Velvet Rope for so many fans is sacred. What message would you like to actually pass along to the fans who've been so supportive of not only Janet but of the Velvet Rope dancers for the last 20 years?
Message I can give to the people would be, it's still exciting. Life is still too exciting, and life is too short. So I believe just to keep everything at a level of positivity and acceptance of what comes to life and enjoyment. Because, like I said, man, that was one powerful show, one powerful album that I ever experienced, and for the world to hear and appreciate, So, just for the fans that's been loving Janet for so much, just keep going to as much as things go, as many of Janet's stuff you can go to, and keep it alive because I don't think she's going to stop.
I don't think so either. I think she's just warming up. And what message would you have for Janet about the Velvet Rope 20 years later? Because, again, it's such a seminal album for her and such an accomplishment. For Janet,
I love Janet. I love you, Janet. All you did was spread love and understanding, and continue to make the world peaceful, and you bring so much joy to so many people. Just keep going. Just keep going.
And with regards to your fellow Velvet Rope dancers, I know we spent some time talking about Mike, but when you look back on your colleagues, Kelly, Nikki Gill, Shawnette, Tice, Tina, how do you feel about them? Do you feel like you're a part of a special, sorority, if you will, or club because of what you guys went through? And again, you're sort of always bound together as this unit.
Yeah. I just still look at everybody from memory banks, like from time I met you until now, like the changes or the growth or how well you developed. It's just in my head. I can just see like Nikki when she first started dancing and how she was and her image change and where she is now. So there's a lot of memory banks and a lot of history. And, I'm just happy for a lot of people, from Tice. When I first met Tice, when he had long curly hair and then she's cutting it to what he's doing now. And then watching Gil, this little baby walking in to join Janet's tour and where he is now, and vice versa for everyone else, Tina and Shawnette, Kelly, myself, like how life was for us during that time, and just imagine what they're like today,
That's awesome. And I also want to give a shout out to Teresa. I know that she did a great job being swing, especially when a couple of you guys went down.
Yes, I forgot. Teresa Espinoza. Yes, I forgot about Teresa. Also, I didn't mean to forget about her as well. Teresa, from the time when I met her at clubs in the circle, when she developed herself, she developed to what she's doing now. So her and the Beat Freaks and part of the Groovaloos. So Teresa.
That's awesome. And before I let you go, Mike, I did want to let you pass along to your fans what you're doing now and where they can find you. I know that they can find you on Instagram, but I know you still teach some classes. If they're in the Los Angeles area, can they find you?
You can find me in Greater Los Angeles, but as of right now, I'm actually doing a career change, so it's going to be kind of hard. You can just follow me on my IG and just see what's going on because, Rob is slowing down.
I don't think you can ever slow down, especially if you managed to pull off that throb routine recently. So I just want to thank you for everything on behalf of the fans. Just thank you for providing so many special memories during the Velvet Rope tour, because it was fantastic. It changed my life. I'm actually getting emotional. But thank you. Thank you for everything.
You're very, 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 very so welcome. Love you, Mike. Gonna miss you, man. You're always in my heart. So, and I love the dancers, and I love Janet. Keep it alive.
Perfect. Rob, thank you so much for this.
You're very, very welcome, Kelly.
That is dancer and choreographer Rob Vinson. Again, make sure to follow him on Instagram at DanceFunkRob. Hey, it's Kelly, and I just want to take a moment to thank you so much for all of the support that you continue to show The Kelly Alexander Show and our latest program, Just Dance, that I co-host with award-winning choreographer Tina Landon. We've been having so much fun on Just Dance, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. We've done interviews with Brian and Scott Nicholson, who work with Ariana Grande, RJ and Nick, who work with Pink and Katy Perry, Luther Brown, who works with our girl Janet Jackson, and the list goes on and on. And we also have many surprises coming for you in this coming year. So please sign up and join us to have lots of fun. hy.page/Kelly Alexander Show, our YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/Kelly Alexander Show, and our newsletter, which is kellyalexandershow.com/subscribe.